Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 25th captain in franchise history. From Oakville, Ontario, number 91, John Tavares.
There's the moment. Leafs Nation learned who will captain their franchise this season. John Tavares is the first captain of the Maple Leafs since Dion Phaneuf back in 2016. The choice is being praised by many Leaf fans. But it wasn't always a sure thing that Tavares would be named captain. There had been speculation that Auston Matthews could get the title. That was before details emerged of a disorderly conduct charge Matthew is now facing. For more on this, I want to bring in Elizabeth Malcolm in Ottawa. She's the co-host of Real Good Pros podcast. And Elizabeth, before we chat, I want to play you a clip from last night's game broadcast. You'll hear announcer Jim Hughson compare the charges facing Auston Matthews to problems other hockey players have faced.
What a start for Auston Matthews. And you know about his indiscretion over the summer, or alleged indiscretion. When I thought about that, I looked back to 2012 and thought about Patrick Kane. Yeah. 24-year-old for the Chicago Blackhawks got into a little trouble with too many cameras around in Wisconsin that summer. And what did he do? He came back and was Conn Smythe Trophy winner and won the Stanley Cup. And that's how you put a little problem behind you.
So, Elizabeth, what's your reaction to that?
My reaction is honestly disgust. The fact that his incident in 2012 is compared to a little problem that is put behind him after succeeding on the ice is frankly a gross way to put it, when the incident was allegations of him physically assaulting a woman.
So what's the effect, do you think, of comments like that?
It really puts a damper on the game, and it really puts a bad taste in the mouth of a lot of fans. I know for myself, hearing that last night, I was almost in a state of shock of, I can't believe he just said that, and is essentially saying that the best way to get rid of off-ice problems is to just be successful on the ice, and everyone will just forgive you and forget what occurred.
Do you think there's an uncomfortable truth to that?
Yes, I do, unfortunately. I think it's very evident that in hockey culture, succeeding on the ice is the best way to kind of make everyone forget about what is happening off the ice. And unfortunately, that shouldn't be that shouldn't be what happens. We should be able to take these players as whole people and have what happens off the ice also impact what we think of them on the ice.
Why do you think that's not happening?
I think that it's just the culture of hockey and the idea that these guys are idols and heroes to a lot of people who are put on a pedestal. And the fact that they can score goals, they can make hits, they can win these championships erases what is happening off the ice, and I think it's unacceptable.
Do you think that the charges Auston Matthews is facing affected the decision by the Maple Leafs to make Tavares the captain?
So what it sounds like from inside of the Leafs head office is that Tavares was the choice the whole time, and that Matthews was in the running, but evidently they ended up going with Tavares. I think that if that's true, then the Matthews incident didn't have an impact, but I do believe it had an impact on whether or not he was going to get the assistant captain full time. So, for example, him and Mitch Marner will be sharing throughout the year the assistant captain along with Morgan Riley. Perhaps if this didn't come out, Auston would be assistant captain all year, not necessarily splitting it with another player.
There's been a great deal of backlash online and many calls for disciplinary action. What would you like to see happen now?
I would like Jim Hughson and Sportsnet to come forward with an apology and an explanation as to why there was the backlash. Instead of the typical, we're sorry if this offended you, I would love to hear I'm sorry that I made this comment. I understand why it was hurtful because of these ways. also, it would be nice to see consequences. Maybe Jim Hughson doesn't get the Saturday night hockey night in Canada announcing. Maybe he doesn't get to do certain games. See that there's actual consequences and that these kind of comments are taken seriously by the broadcaster.
Elizabeth, appreciate you taking that time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elizabeth Malcolm, co-host of Toronto Maple Leafs podcast Real Good Pros, joining us from Ottawa.